Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Welcome to Drinks and Discussions. As always, I'm your host, Brian. And I'm going to share a video today that is still on the same topics of what we've been talking about, mental health, human behavior. And I want to preference this video by saying this. The majority of the people who watch Drinks and Discussions, I believe, are intelligent individuals, people who think, people who watch these videos and go, that was interesting. How can I apply that and apply that in my life? Or this resonates with me because of this experience. There's a lot of intelligent people, I think, that watch Drinks and Discussions. But, however, there's always a few that I wouldn't consider as intelligent. But we're going to delve into that as we go along in this video today. I want to start off by saying this because I know 100% there are a certain few who've never heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And I'm not really going to go into it completely right now, but I am going to talk about it because it's so baffling to me how people who are unintelligent go around claiming they know certain things, which they do not, spread misinformation, falsehoods, and are so oblivious to their own actions and how people look upon them. Now, just as a very high level definition of the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's a cognitive based bias that refers to unfounded beliefs, which many of us, if not all of us, have without even realizing it. But this particular video is about people who claim to know it all but don't know anything. And this is going to be a short one today. I'll give it to you because I've got a lot of other things that are in the pot that I'm going to be sharing with you in the coming days. But I had to get this one out because it just seems like over and over and over and over again, the idiots who claim to know stuff keep wanting to show you all who they really are. And what baffles me the most are the people who blindly listen to people when they give them these stories, these falsehoods, without even double checking, without even going to the source and saying, hey, I heard something this about you. And listen, I don't have a problem with anybody, especially on social media. Having a problem with somebody on social media is just an act of fruition to me. It makes zero sense to me. Having a argument or a disagreement with people you don't know, people who you will never see in real life, is just petty and idiotic to me. I don't understand why people do it. And I get it. Sometimes it's fun to poke fun at the nonsense and have a little, you know, levity throughout your day or your week. I get that. But when these people go and try to convince other people to think and believe their idiocy and people believe it, that's not a good look, people. You got to be quick on your feet. I get it. But you can't be that quick into believing people who claim that they still have this newfound life on things, a new handle on things, not very uh, aggressive, not very, they're in control of their anger. But time and time again, they continue to show you who they are. When are people going to start believing them? Which is a good segue into today's video and topic. Why do, tell me, why do stupid people believe that they're smart? And how does the Dunning-Kruger effect Dunning-Kruger effect play into this? So let's find out.
Why do the unintelligent think they are intelligent? In 1995 in the United States, a man named MacArthur Wheeler decided to rob a bank in broad daylight without wearing any kind of mask. Once the theft was completed, our hero decided to do the same in another bank soon after, in both cases smiling at the surveillance cameras before leaving. The man was then arrested the same evening after being identified by the police in the recordings of bank cameras. At the time of his arrest, a very surprised MacArthur asked the officers how they had recognized him, as he had covered his face with lemon juice. According to MacArthur, the lemon juice would have made him invisible to cameras and was genuinely surprised when he discovered that it did not. His belief was founded on having incorrectly interpreted the chemical properties of lemon juice on invisible ink. This cognitive bias inspired two psychologists, Dunning-Kruger and David Dunning, to conduct an in-depth study on the subject in 1999. What surprised the psychologists most was the thief's sense of security. He was so convinced to be right that he even insinuated that the video recordings had been tampered. Dunning and Kruger conducted a study on a large sample of students, who were tested in various categories, such as logical reasoning, correct use of grammar, and a sense of humor. Once the test was completed, they were asked to estimate their results at an absolute level and in relation to the results of other students. The result was that the students with the worst results were those who most of all overestimated their results, and by a lot. They all believed they were well above average. So not only were they incompetent, but they didn't have the faintest idea of how mediocre they were in relation to their peers. The students with the best results, on the other hand, had a better idea of their abilities. But in any case, despite being aware of being better than the average, they too made a mistake. They underestimated their skills. Paradoxically, they believed that they had actually done worse than the result obtained. But why? Simply because the test seemed relatively easy for them, so they believed it was easy for everyone, unaware of their own superior skills. Today, the Dunning-Kruger effect is known all over the world. The most incompetent people do not have the ability to recognize their own incompetence and believe themselves better than they actually are. The natural consequence of this total lack of self-awareness is that if they don't obtain the desired results in a specific field, as often happens, they look for excuses and scapegoats to justify their failures, instead of asking themselves what the real reason behind it was. On the screen, you can see the curve of the Dunning-Kruger effect. On the vertical axis, you'll find self-confidence, and on the horizontal axis, experience. People without knowledge often tend to have enormous self-confidence while living in a state of total ignorance. Further on, those who manage to improve themselves and acquire knowledge understand how little they knew before and begin to lose some confidence in themselves. Only later, once they become experts in a certain topic, they regain their confidence and know they're really much more prepared than others on this subject. Basically, we humans are not very good at self-evaluating ourselves. Most of us believe we're better than what we are, and almost all of us, some to a greater extent than others, have been affected by this cognitive bias. Let me explain this better with a quick figurative example. Rob loves playing chess. He's been playing almost every day with his friends for 6 months, and he always wins. Rob is convinced that he's very strong and that he knows basically everything there is to know about the game. If we asked Robert at what level he thinks he is, his answer would be in the top 5% of players in the world. Mark is a professional chess player. He's traveled the world to play tournaments and is truly among the best in the world. Mark is fully aware that he knows a lot about this game, but he also knows that the number of possible moves and strategies in chess is huge, and he's far from knowing everything. Being perfectly aware of this situation, Mark knows that there's a gray area of non-knowledge, seen by him as room for improvement. You can see this on the screen. Rob, on the other hand, is totally unaware that this gray area exists. In his opinion, that area does not exist. This is the reason why Rob is so sure that he's close to knowing the game of chess to perfection. The problem here is that Rob knows what he knows, but he doesn't know what he doesn't know. Mark, however, is perfectly aware of his knowledge and is equally aware that there are things he does not know. The mistake that many people in Mark's situation make is to assume that others know what he knows, when this is just not the case. Often, this happens because less prepared individuals show so much confidence in themselves that it's easy to be misled. This is why people like Mark often tend to underestimate themselves in relation to others. Dunning-Kruger also noted that the most incompetent people tend to totally reject any form of criticism and have no interest in improving themselves. This is the reason why many people live their entire existence in mediocrity. A famous quote by Charles Darwin says, "Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. It is those who know little, not those who know much, who so positively assert that this or that problem will never be solved by science." We can close by saying that having self-confidence is important, but even more important is being self-conscious and understanding what we're really good at and what we're not. Only this way can we make the right changes and take the appropriate actions to improve ourselves. Do you recognize any of your acquaintances or friends in this description? If you like, share some funny anecdotes in the comments section below.
You know, there's a saying in my field, in my career, that we learned along when you first start, and that is you have to know what it is that you don't know. You can't go in thinking that you're going to have all the answers, especially when it comes to solutions, IT solutions. IT solutions may work in one environment, but if you take that solution and put it into another environment, the environment variables are always going to be different. Not everybody implements solutions the exact same way based upon the other solutions that they use in their environment. So knowing what you don't know is pivotal for your success. Now, the funny thing about this is, we've said this in a couple of other videos, that if you hang out with 9 stupid people, you will become the 10th. And yet over and over and over again, from my experience, I see a lot of stupid people still hanging with stupid people. Or actually, let me rephrase that. I see some pretty decent people allowing themselves to be influenced by stupid people, and they are becoming the stupid person in which they are inviting over into their environment. Again, I think a lot of people who come to Drinks and Discussions are very astute, very intelligent, and they understand the Dunning-Kruger effect. I believe that the Dunning-Kruger effect has been around, I believe, since the 80s, but it could be in the, I think it's the early 80s. But it's been around for a while, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who have never heard of that study before. And I think hopefully this will cause you to go and research more about this and understand what this video is basically trying to say. Because in my opinion, if someone says that they clearly and truly believe that they have a newfound life, it seems more and more apparent that you have a newfound life of ignorance, stupidity. And it shows over and over and over again. So at the end of the day, as we've been saying for weeks now, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.